Okay, now that we've covered basic navigation and all that jazz, we're going to look at shapes. Now, shapes is this tab here. These are all our basic shapes. Let's just create a cube. A few things you'll notice are that it's shaded, it has white lines around it, and orange lines around those. Now, let's go through. Obviously, the fact that it's shaded means it's solid, we can see it, and all that stuff. This white line tells us what mode we're in. We're in object mode, and that means I can't move stuff around yet. And these orange lines are its bounding boxes, or bounding box. This is basically, if I have an object that's pointy and oddly shaped, that's its square. Like if I create a sphere, delete the cube, I create a sphere, you'll notice those orange bits are still in the sense what you'd expect it to be for a cube. Because if we look at it from the side, that's its height, and it's like its max height, its max width, and all that stuff. Let's create a cube again. Now, in the hierarchy, we'll see a couple things. We'll see what it is, its name, and layer, and these two dots, and this tick, and these tags. Let's work through layer. This is obviously telling me that it's a primitive cube. What its name is, we'll rename it Bob. And what layers it's on. I'll show you layers. If I add it to the blue layer, and then add another cube, and we'll call this thread. No, that didn't work. Thread. We'll add it to a new layer, so now it's a different color. Now if we go to the layer browser, I can hide Bob, and so I can only see Fred. Or what I can do is I can lock Bob, so now I can't do anything to Bob, I can only do stuff to Fred. That's pretty straightforward. Just leave that like that, delete Fred. Now, you'll notice these buttons, they change color depending on how many times you click on them. When they're this color, that means there's nothing going on at the moment. The top one is whether or not it's visible in the scene, whether or not I can see it now. So, if it's red, I can't see it. If it's that, it's just going to be that, but if it's green, it's going to ensure that I can always see it. And the bottom one is the exact same thing, but when I render it, and we're going to cover render later. Okay, that's the hierarchy down. Now let's have a look at these tools up here. Obviously this is undo and redo, but we'll go through all these. This is the select tool. We can choose our different types of selects. I can select polygons with that. And for this one, this is obviously the move tool. Move it around. This one's scale tool. This is the rotate tool. To get this, I'm just clicking. And here is our recent tool box. Now, a few other things. We've got these. These are X, Y, and Z. Now, if you've used any other 3D program, you don't need to listen to this. You just block your ears and go blah, 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 blah. I'm not listening. Okay, Y is up and down, Z is along here, and X is along here. That's also visible up here. And as I rotate, you'll see that, whoa, that was a little strange. You'll see, as I rotate, they move. Because they're always pointing in the same direction. It's like a compass. It's like a 3D compass. Now, if I tick off Y, I can, I'll go back to move. If I tick off Y, I can move it around in the Z and X axis, but not the Y. Which is very useful if I want to do some precision moving. So I only want to move it up and down this, and not any other way. Turn those all back. this is the global local. Local is, if I rotate it, now it's gone all funny. But if I had it set to global, it would always rotate the same way. I'll cover this more in a later one. Let's create another one. Now down here we have this button. This is the layout button, but this button is so you can see it's converting a sphere into a sphere with little lines on it. That's because we're turning into from an object and converting it. See, so now it's polygon. See, now it's got a triangle next to its name instead of a square. That means if we change our mode here, also you'll notice that when I move it, I don't get any tool information. If I click this, I can get arrows. I can click on this, and it'll tell me how far it's going to move it. But that's because of go back. See, it tells me how far it's moving. I can also tell it to move by holding Shift, even increments up and down, and that's the same for every tool. But so convert. Now we'll convert it back to a polygon. Now to do this on the keyboard, it's just C, and you'll notice we've got this, this, and this. Now these are all the different modes. We'll go to this one first. This is vertexes, which are dots. See, I'm using my select tool by hitting space on whatever tool I'm on. It'll go take me back to my select tool, and I'm selecting points. We'll just click this one, move it around. See, now I have a funky shape. Now, if I go to this one, this selects lines and not points. So I'm moving. It's like I'm moving two at once. And then got this one, which is a face. So just like that, I can pull it around. And this is moving, well, in this case 4, but it can be as many as you want. It's like a solid piece. So that's those. And I can just go back to this, and once again with the bounding box, it's still, it covers the whole thing. So I can move it around again. And create another one. So it's back to primitive. Oh, once you convert it, you can't turn it back to a primitive. It loses all its stuff. See, we've got, this is the same sort of things as up here. We have visible in editor, visible in renderer, layer, and name, and yeah. X-ray. X-ray is, I'll show you that. Move this down here. If I select this and check X-ray, you'll notice I can see stuff through it. So it's an X-ray. Now, here we have the object properties, which can be changed to these. If I hold Shift, I open up all of them, but I can click on individuals. Size, X, Y, and Z. It's pretty obvious. Then we have segments. That's not so obvious, so I'll explain these. Segments are how many lines in between. So this is if you want to add these and these to it. So that way, if I converted it and I click there, I'd be able to move that point on its own. Now, another thing in the 3D view, if we hit O with an object selected, it'll focus on it. So it's in the very center of my world. Then we've got separate surfaces. Pretty obvious what that does. And then we've got fillet. Now, what fillet does is it's got fillet radius and fillet subdivision, and it basically just smooths everything out and makes it look like that. Turn that off. Now, under coordinates, which is the same as this box, I can move it in its position for the P, X, Y, and Z. Then got scale, X, Y, and Z. And then you've got R, H, P, and B. Now, H stands for heading, P stands for perspective, I think, and B stands for I don't know what B stands for. So that's if you want to precisely, like if I want it to be looking 1 degree that way, I can do that. So it's very precise that way. And you can also do decimals and stuff. And yeah, that's it for the shapes. That's it.